If you've ever wondered what is the power of forgiveness and the transformative power that it has in your life, how it can shape your life and how it can transform you as an individual, today we are going to talk to you about that. Katharine is here to give us a very powerful experience that she has had and some teachings and ideologies that she understands about forgiveness and how it can transform your life. And so if you're on that journey, forgiveness, maybe there's somebody that you have in your life that you feel they are so hard to forgive, or there is some part that you're going through and you feel like it's just weighing you down. Well, we are here to take you on a journey to inner peace. So, hello everyone, welcome to the Proverbial Mind podcast. It is your host again, Samuel Oladeji, and here with me is Katharine Giovanni. Did I get that right correctly?
Giovanni, yes.
Yeah. Okay, great. So today we're going to be talking about the forgiveness formula, the path to inner peace. And Katrin here is going to take us on that journey. All right, Katrin, it's great to have you here on the Proverbial Mind podcast. And could you give us a brief introduction about yourself and what we are discussing today?
Well, first, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I am a forgiveness coach. I'm also an author and best-selling author of 12 books. Some of them are business, some of them are, they're self-help, good for you. This is going to make you better kind of books.
Right,
I am one of the founders of the independent concierge industry and did customer service and trained concierge for over 25 years. And I retired from that in 2020. And now I'm a forgiveness coach, teaching people how to forgive because everybody knows we have to forgive. Your
right,
pastor, your parents, your teachers, everybody says now go say you're sorry.
right.
Okay? How? Nobody teaches you how. So I'm teaching the how in a new book that I just recently wrote.
That's awesome. That's a brief introduction about Katrin right there. And today we are going to learn just how to go about forgiving others. So, Katrin, to get started, could you tell us what is your ideology and understanding of forgiveness, and how does it really lead to inner peace?
Okay. Forgiveness doesn't mean I want a relationship with you.
Right,
Forgiveness does not necessarily mean repair.
right,
Also, forgiveness, and this trips up so many people. Forgiveness, if I say I forgive you, it doesn't mean all of a sudden I'm telling you you were right. No, you're still wrong. You're probably still a dumpster fire. But forgiveness, the formal definition for me personally, means I want you out of my head. That's
right,
it. I want to stop thinking about you. I want to stop obsessing about you. I want to even stop praying for you. I want you out of my head. So, forgiveness, everybody says, well, if I forgive, then I'm going to forget. Um, I'm from New York and I'm not forgetting anything. And I don't know many people who can forget. But what I can promise you is if you use the system that I've created,
mhm,
there will be no emotional attachment to that name anymore.
right,
You won't care. You won't think good thoughts. You won't think bad thoughts. You go on Facebook or social media or you see them at a party and you'll see them and you won't care. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that neutrality. I'm looking to get them out of my head. Now, how does that lead to inner peace? Let me just give you an example. For anybody listening, I'm about to hold a purple opaque coffee cup right in front of my face. For the moment, I can hold this. This cup represents bitterness and anger
right,
and hatred and all the negative yuckies, right? But when I first get angry, look at me. You and I could still have a conversation. I can hold it off to the side. I can handle my anger easy. But the longer I hold on to this anger, the more it's going to hurt. And then now look at my body language. Now it takes two hands to hold up the anger. So it's starting to affect my life. I could sort of pay attention to the world around me, but my focus is starting to become my anger. And if I can and remember, humans irritate other humans. So I'm going to keep putting more anger and more bitterness into the cup the longer I hold it. Well, The longer I hold it, now I'm holding the cup in front of my face. I can't even see you at this point. It's all my conversations. It's all my thoughts. It's all I can think about. It's all I can talk about. So what's going on? I'm missing my dream significant other because I'm too focused on the anger.
Mhm.
I'm missing my dream job. Why? Because I'm not paying attention. I'm paying attention to my anger. So by forgiving people and forgiving them for the sins they've foisted on you, you're actually going to be able to pay attention to your life again.
Right.
And they'll be out of your head. And at the end of the day, that's going to bring you peace.
That is a clear and I think very practical definition of forgiveness, especially in the world of today. And if you actually want people to listen to you, if you tell somebody just go forgive somebody and then you don't teach them how to do it, forgive and let go. The fact is everybody teach let go, but the truth is, do we actually let go in the mind? I mean, you can tell somebody I let go, I
Probably not.
forgive you, but the fact is that memory keeps on playing over and over again. Not that you forgive the person though, but any little trigger you remember it, and the ideology here now is that you get to this stage, you cannot, memory, your mind is something that is almost, anything you get into it is quite almost impossible to get it out of there unless you format your brain. Because experiences you've had, Dr. Miles Murray used to say something. He said he learned something about the mind and the experience of human. He said experience and the things you see, the things you experience is something that can never be undone from your mind and your consciousness. But that is why he's always careful on the kind of memories he creates for himself. Because he knows that once that memory gets into his head, it's almost impossible to get it out. And so, what we are trying to help you do today is we understand that getting that memory out of your head is something that is probably not practical as a human. I don't know any other way that you can do it because I've tried it myself. I've had people who have, done horrible things to me and I forgive them. I even pray for them sometimes. If I remember them, I pray for them.
And
But
that's okay. That's
and
okay. You don't have to
right.
pray for them. That's okay.
But I look at the things that they do. Sometimes I see triggers and it reminds me of that memory. And I try to get it out of my head. But to be honest, I don't think it's practical. If anyone knows any other way out there, you can drop it in the comment. I'll be more than willing to learn, but I don't know if you can really get it out of your head. So the goal here now is to try to detach yourself from that experience. Try to detach your emotions from that experience. Try to detach your consciousness from that experience, knowing that
Right.
the possibilities of you forgetting it is probably not practical. However, even if it comes to your head, if it doesn't have any effect on you, you're free. You have inner peace and you'll be like, okay, why is this thing not even affecting me anymore? Because you have detached yourself from that memory. You have
Correct.
let them go from your mind and now you are in the path of peace. And like she said, you might feel like holding, the grudge and the hatred is not making any difference. But there's another analogy that a pastor gave one time. Is that if you have a stone in your shoes, can you walk comfortably? No, you get bruises, you can't even focus, your brain cannot focus because the more you walk, the more you're feeling that pain and there is no way you can just ignore that pain because it's really hurting you so bad. And so the best way is to get that stone out of the shoes and then you can walk properly. And that is where forgiveness comes in, letting go and detaching yourself away from that experience. It might not be able to get out of your brain, but remove your emotions from it and just let them go out of your mind. Forget about it. The Bible says that if God forgives us, then we should forgive. Because if you don't forgive, then you yourself won't be forgiven. You'll receive mercy. If you show mercy, you also receive mercy. So, Katrini, can you take us now on the journey of how do we actually let those emotions go? How do you detach from those emotions? Because humans are very emotional beings, and memories really, really controls our emotion powerfully. What do you recommend?
Well, before I answer that question, let me piggyback on what you just said. Anger is toxic, and anger is, to use an example, it's like drinking poison and hoping the other person dies.
Right.
You're literally making yourself sick. The other person isn't even thinking about you. And this is for the ladies, Samuel, not necessarily for you, but when many women break up with their significant other, they want that significant other to be as miserable as them.
Mm.
We want you to mope. We want you to be upset as we are. And the reality is they're not. They're at going out to dinner, they're living their lives, they're not even thinking about you. But the person is alive in your head. And that being said, because it doesn't matter where the person is or isn't, you can forgive anybody. You can forgive dead people, especially people who have passed, because maybe they passed and you didn't get closure. Now
Right.
you can get some closure because they're alive and well in your head.
Mhm.
You don't forgive for the other person, you forgive for you. Forgiveness is selfish. I'm doing it for you. I'm not doing it for them.
Right.
So if I forgive them, what's it doing for them? Not a darn thing. It's doing everything for you. So
Right.
everybody listening or watching this podcast right now, on a 10 scale, with 10 being unforgivable, which is what you were just talking about, and 1 being the easiest person in the world to forgive, 10 out of 10 people, including you, my friend, are more than likely thinking of that number 10 person, the
Right.
unforgivable person, or persons, the
Right.
unforgivable acts. So my system is designed that you'll get to that number 10 unforgivable person eventually, but I want you to start with the easy ones. I want you to start with the number ones. And as you go through your list, and I'm going to have you make a list of, I want you to write down pen and paper, or if you're really young, you can use your computer if you want to. I actually don't care. All roads lead to Rome in my case. But
Right.
write down all the people that you think have wronged you, all the people that you think you need to apologize, right? Write them all down. All the people that sinned against you, all the people that made you mad,
Right.
everybody. And then I want you to rate them from 1 to 10. Now remember, you could have 10 number threes if you want. I don't care. You could skip a number. I also don't care. But
Right.
everybody who committed a sin against you, I want you to write it on the paper and I want you to rate them from 1 to 10. And then doing 5 at a time, I want you to start with the number ones, like the person who cut you off on I-95 South last week. I could forgive them. How about the person that cut you off in aisle 4 of the grocery store? You got some grocery cart road rage going there. You could forgive
Mm.
that person. How about the real challenged person who keeps stealing your lunch in the cafeteria in the office break room? I
Right.
hope you can forgive that person. That one's a little harder, isn't it? I might rate that one a 4 or a 5 because that
Mhm.
one's probably going to make you angry.
Right.
See, I want you to start with the easy ones, and as you start with the easy ones and you work your way up to the hard ones in yourself, forgiving yourself might be a number 10, and
Mhm.
we'll talk about how to forgive the unforgivable because you can. It's possible.
Right.
But I want you to start with the easy ones, and I want you to slowly go through the list. Now, how are you going to know when you've forgiven them? When you can look at their name and you don't care. You look at their name and you think, I don't care. Now there are worksheets and all sorts of stuff in the book, but you literally can think about them and it doesn't matter. And as you forgive, when you forgive somebody, truly forgive somebody. My older son is a federal law enforcement officer, and he actually did this because it's probably good if he's not irritated. He is in the law enforcement,
Right.
and he said the first time he did it, he said his shoulders felt lighter. He said, that's crazy. I mean, it made no sense to him, but his shoulders literally felt lighter. I usually feel movement in the center of my belly. I don't know why. I just feel kind of movement there. Most people get really tired, which is why I want you to do it before bed because your body heals itself. If it's a really toxic relationship, you might have to sleep for a while after you do it. Most
Right.
people do. But this is the path to freedom. This is the path to getting yourself off of that anger merry-go-round.
That is powerful. And thinking about it, I've had certain experiences too, when people offend you. And this is where
Yeah.
mindfulness comes into the place, being present and being cautious on what is going on in your mind. Because sometimes when these things happen, we jump into reaction. And the funny thing is, sometimes you are the one at
Yeah, we
fault.
do.
Sometimes you are the one at fault. Sometimes both of you are at fault. And sometimes you're clearly not even at fault at all. It's just the person who is totally who was on the blame. But you trying to tell them that you're wrong or make them admit that they are wrong will actually probably not help you, because the reality is most people don't want to admit that they are wrong. It's just
Right.
one thing about humans, they don't want to admit that they are wrong. If you're somebody that when you make mistakes and admit that you're wrong, you must have reached some high level of self-mastery. And the fact is, even when you reach that mastery, you'll still most times want to jump into ego defensive state. You still want to jump to the fight response mood when you see something that threatens you and somebody is trying to challenge you. And this most times happens to men because we man has ego. It's a natural thing
Yeah.
that is in them, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. It's good sometimes when it helps you to protect yourself and defend yourself in case in a dangerous situation that can threaten your life. But sometimes it's bad when you're just trying to have a peaceful conversation, or you're working in an organization and you guys are trying to get something done, and somebody is trying to understand something and they're attacking you in a way that you don't appreciate, and then you go into reaction and screw everything over, and that even makes getting the job done 100% complicated. So another thing that I usually do for that is mindfulness. Pause, reflect, and then respond, not just go
Perfect.
into reaction right away. And before I even got to that level, I took a lot of time. I was somebody before that, if you piss me off, I'll blow off right there, like a time bomb and stuff like that. But then as time goes on, as I began to handle leadership positions and led people, it taught me the power of patience. It taught me understanding that people are different, and the way you see things might not be the way they see things. And so you as the leader, you have to exercise a lot of patience, and you have to exercise your communication skills to be able to get them to understand what you're talking about. Because I realized that most times people have good intentions. If you look down deep into their heart, most times, 85, even 95% of the time, people have good intentions. But
That's
there are
right.
just
They mean well.
right.
Yeah.
There are just some experiences or certain things that make them come off the way they come off, and sometimes they don't even know they come up that way. Sometimes they know, but then if you look deep down into them, they actually do have good intentions. So this again will help you to learn how to forgive, because they are probably not meaning to hurt you, but eventually they end up hurting you. And some people actually mean to hurt you, but then you ask them, how did they get to that state that you go around going to hurt people and destroy people and stuff like that? I had that encounter with somebody one time, and I remember the teaching of the Bible that says, love your enemies, love your neighbor,
Right.
love everybody. And this person acted in a way that is totally unacceptable. And it was clear that the person meant bad. And on remembering that stuff and remembering, my mindfulness training, I pause, and reflect and try to think that way. She probably doesn't mean that way. She probably doesn't know that this is what she was trying to do or stuff like that. And then I try to communicate with the person and say, okay, why and why and why and why this in a very calm way. And the person began to share an experience of what someone did to her, that changed her mindset about those kind of situations. And next time when she sees situations like that, she just react, instead of responding, she'll react based off of that memory. She has not have this stored memory that people are like this kind of people are like this. They mean this and they mean that. At the end of the day, she was just trying to defend herself. That's all. She was not really meaning anything evil. She just wanted to defend herself from the previous memory that she had. So this again, I believe, is a way to help us get a different perspective that sometimes people are not the way they are because they were burned that way, or because they decide to be evil. Sometimes it's an experience that they have had and then turn them into that person that they are, and until somebody gets to actually question them in depthly, and why are you acting like this? Why are you doing this way, in a loving and kind way that then
Right.
get them to be completely broken and actually express that true reason of what got them into that stage, or that type of character that they developed. So it made me learn after many years of leading and communicating with people that most times people actually don't have bad intentions. It's just experiences that have shaped their character and give them wrong, perspective of people and stuff like that. And most times they are then reacting to defend themselves, not really to hurt and stuff like that. So
Well,
this
it's like it's perspective. Years ago, that we're going back 15 years maybe.
Hmm.
Long time ago. I
Right.
was teaching customer service and people teaching people how to be a concierge, and I was getting on an airplane, and
Hmm.
there were a bunch of Japanese businessmen
Right.
behind me, and they kind of all surrounded me. Now, Americans, we like to have a little cushion around our body. We really are not interested in being shoulder to literal shoulder with people. It makes
Mhm.
us a little squirrely. We get uncomfortable.
Right.
And they were literally boxing me in. So I thought, okay, we're all going to get on the airplane anyways. So I excused myself and I walked to the back of the line. Let
Mm.
them all get on. We're all going to get on eventually. So they
Eventually.
did. And so plane takes off. The gentleman who didn't speak any English,
Hmm.
sitting by the window, needed to use the restroom.
Hmm.
So he stood up and he started to crawl over me. Well, I usually don't like strange men crawling over my lap. So I put up my hand up in the universal sign for please stop. And
Hmm.
I stood up and I went like this and he got out. And at this point, I was getting mad. I was
Right.
getting really mad because I couldn't believe the bad manners.
Right.
But I was prepared for his return because I had a feeling. So
Hmm.
he came back, and sure enough, the right leg came up. And I said, I put my hand up again. And I stood up, and he got in. He bowed. I bowed, and I sat there, and I became a little mindful. Because I thought, I'm angry. And
Hmm.
I can't get off this airplane angry because I had a gig. I had to go teach a class.
Hmm.
And I looked around the airplane and I noticed they were all doing it. And it struck me what they thought was completely normal and
Normal. Right.
polite in Japan was
Right.
completely impolite in the United States.
Right.
They had no idea they were being impolite, and they would have
Hmm.
been mortified had they known that because they're a very beautiful, brilliant, polite culture. And
Right.
if that man had understood that he was being impolite, he would have been very upset. So it's a question of perspective.
Hmm.
And as you said, not everybody is doing it purposely. Sometimes it's the way they're raised, it's their culture. Sometimes they just don't understand. And that's why these types of people will probably be labeled a one, two, three, four, five on your list because
Hmm.
they're going to be very easy to forgive
Right.
once you get that perspective. Now, if it's an old business partner or a family member, okay, they might be toward the unforgivable part of your list because, boy, family really pulls your strings, don't they?
100%.
Oh yeah, they'll punch your lights out. I'm telling you.
Right, right. So now, what is this process? I know we have talked about different scenarios on
Hmm.
why people act the way they act and things that can be forgivable and the consequences if you don't forgive and the benefits if you forgive. So how can we now get people to actually forgive? What process do you take through? Proverbial minds, we like practical steps on how to go about the situations. And so, okay, this is this and this and this, and we can apply it. What is the formula? What is the way?
Okay, now for the easy people, I want you to write down your list of people that you are angry at or have sinned against you. Whatever words you want to use, I don't care. And I want you to write this list, and then I want you to label them 1 to 10. Now, for the people you label 1 to 5, they're pretty easy. Start with the ones. Imagine the person in your mind. And if you can't picture them as you knew them, I want you to write down names from the sandbox when you were 2 years old to present day. And I want you to imagine the person as you knew them when the event happened, not the adult that they might be today. And if you can't imagine them, put a chair in front of you, put a chair in front of your bed or your sofa or wherever you're sitting, and imagine that they're the chair. A lot of people do that. If you can't do that, put a picture, write their name in the chair, something, and then I want you to get it out. I want you to turn off your phone. There's a magic button on your phone. It's called the off button, and you could use it. You could actually turn your phone off. I actually said this to a woman last year sometime, and the color drained from her face, and she said, "Oh no, I can't turn it off." If you can't turn it off, there's a mute button. And you can even turn the ringer off and then turn it back on again. This is all to say I want kids, animals, I want you to just be alone for maybe 15 minutes, right? I just don't want you to be disturbed, right? So I want you to imagine they're standing in front of you and then say anything you like. You're alone. You don't have to contact them. This is not like Alcoholics Anonymous. And I've been sober now for 35 years. So, we are taught in recovery to make amends and reach out to people.
Mhm.
Okay, your girl here was raised shy, and I'm now an extroverted introvert. But back 35 years ago, I wasn't going to talk to anybody. I call somebody who might yell at me. No, but my system is such that you don't have to reach out and talk to them. You don't even have to tell them that you've done it. I
Mhm.
don't care about them. I care about you. So it's a one-way conversation. You could say anything you want to this person. And then you say a very simple forgiveness mantra that I have in the book. Very simple. You don't have to burn incense, unless that's what you're into. You don't have to hold any crystals or anything, unless you want to. I mean, whatever you want to do. And it's a very simple thing. I completely forgive Catherine. I forgive the energy around Catherine. I forgive myself, the energy around myself. I completely forgive the entire situation. And my friend, that's it. Once you say that, and I want you to say it with your hand in your heart, and at the end you say Amen. And then I want you to check in with your body. Are you still angry? Are they still a number three? Or did it go down to a two? Or is it gone? Are you just thinking, I'm not angry anymore? Perfect. That's what I want.
Right.
A friend of mine did this, and she did it on somebody she labeled a three, and it jumped up to a seven. She said, I'm even more angry now than I was when I started. The brain is a brilliant, phenomenal tool, and it protects you. And what happened is she did that. Forgiveness is like an onion. There's many layers to it, and many onions, I'm sad to say. So we're never really done with it.
Mhm.
But there's many layers, which why this is a marathon, not a sprint. And
Right.
she forgave that first layer, and the back corners of her mind, those back closets that are padlocked shut, the brain was like, "Oh wow, Catherine's ready now. Let me open this closet," and all those memories you didn't remember flood out, and now you're
Right.
you're even more mad than when you started. But I can promise you that if you work on this every night, you will slowly be able to whittle down the list. Now let's talk about the unforgivable. I believe, and most people agree with me, that there are certain people and situations that are unforgivable. I think Jesus was able to forgive these people. He was a magical human being. I'm not convinced that humans can forgive the darkest of the darkest of the darkest of acts. That being said, you don't have to forgive the unforgivable. Stay with me. Don't log off yet. Because there's other things that you can forgive before you get to that actual person. So I want you to work at picking at the memory. And if you we our memories are triggered by things that we see, buildings, by smells. We walk into a bake shop and we remember our grandmother because of the smell of the pie. So I want you to pick at that dark, unforgivable memory, whatever it is. And I want you to pick out the pieces. Let's say your Aunt Martha said something horrible to you and was verbally abusive at a Thanksgiving years ago. I don't have an Aunt Martha, so this is a safe name for Catherine to use. Okay. So, and you have to go to Thanksgiving or Christmas with Aunt Martha. What do? I want you to pick apart the memory before you get there, preferably a month before. I want you to forgive the table, the chair, the people around that didn't do anything and just stared at you. Forgive all of those people. For you can forgive everybody but Aunt Martha. Forgive yourself for anything you may or may not have done. And that's going to be just enough that will get you through that Thanksgiving dinner because you're not going to be as angry anymore. Did you forgive Aunt Martha? Eventually, you will be able to forgive Aunt Martha, but it may take a while. I had a bunch of number 10s. You're not going to get a number 10 level person down to a one in one passing. It's going to take a minute. You might have to go talk to your pastor. You might have to talk to friends about it. You might have to just kind of exercise that person out of your body, so to speak. But eventually, if you pick apart the memory, you can slowly get to the center of it, and eventually you'll be in the mindset to forgive Aunt Martha herself. But please don't start with Aunt Martha. Start with the easy ones. The person on I-95 who cut you out, the person who tripped you in the hall when you were a kid. Start with the easy ones and slowly work your way up.
This is powerful, and I think it's as practical as possible. All you just gotta do is to patiently. Patience is something now that's very,
Patient
very
is the
important.
word of the day.
Patience. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you're not gonna get through this process if you're not patient. You got to be
Yeah.
really patient and you got to be present and eradicate all distractions as possible. We're going to take a simple pause. Proverbial Minds, if you are here right now and you're not subscribed, I don't know what you're doing. This is a very powerful show, and we bring to you a lot of amazing contents that can transform you from the inside out and transform your life and transform you as a being, build you as a leader, as a person, and as a father, as a mother, anywhere you are in your stage of life. What we bring to you can help you transform your life into a warrior, into a champion that you are destined to be. Someone amazing like Katharine has shared those very practical, great steps that you can learn in forgiveness and thus leading to inner peace. So if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit notification button, comment and give us feedback on how we are doing, and share our videos so that we can get more of these things to you. And if you want to build your leadership skills, or you're looking for a way, a professional way to build and develop your leadership skills, there is a link down in the comment to one of our partners that you can take this course. And when you take that course, it take you through a process of transformation. This is mostly for entrepreneur. So if you are an entrepreneur out there and you are looking to build your business, to evolve your business into a seven-figure business, we have a partner that has a program that can teach you just how to do that, how to manage your business, manage your company, be an excellent leader, and begin to generate significant amount of revenue for your company and your team. At Proverbial Minds, we really want to help you to transform your life, your career, your business, and your company. And this our partner here brings you that show. The link again is down below in the comments in the description section. Just click that link and you will get signed up for the program. And back to the show again. Catherine, that was a very practical and powerful terminologies and practical ways to forgive somebody. And it's so funny that we have not discussed about these practical steps before, but it is something that I've done before. Try to forgive somebody, although this person is from a long time ago. And for me, what I did was actually prayer, because I believe that sometimes forgiveness deprive your ability to even get the presence of God. That's why the Bible
True.
says, "Do not let the sun go down before you forgive." Your before you forgive and let anger go out of your mind and stuff. I noticed that if you go to the presence of God and you have hatred, bitterness, and anger in your heart, you will really not be able to connect to his presence. You won't really be able to welcome the Holy Spirit into your room or that vicinity, because God is holy and he wants holiness around you. And if you are keeping anger and bitterness in your heart, you are already depriving the Holy Spirit from being fellowshipping with you in that place. And so you got to clear your heart. You got to forgive and let all that anger, that stress and burden, let everything go away from your heart, and then your spirit will be open to receive, because now you're no longer like this. Because when you're angry, your bitterness, you have all the stuff, you're like this, you know. But when you forgive, you're like this. Your hand is
That's right.
free. And then you can allow the presence of God to just soak you in and absorb you. You can connect to God. And if you're someone that prays a lot, sometimes your prayer might not be really answered because of that, because you are blocking your prayer, you're blocking yourself with that
It acts
anger.
like a shield.
Yeah, you're blocking blessings from yourself and you're not able to connect to God. And that's why he always advises us to forgive and to let things go,
That's right.
to not let the sun go down with our anger, because it deprives your purity, it blocks your holiness, and you will not be able to entertain the presence of God wherever you are. So this is a practical guide for you to inner peace and to also walk in powerful dimensions of the presence of God, and to stop your prayers from being blocked because of somebody. You don't want to bring sin and calamities of yourself because of somebody. Just let go of it for you, for your own good, and so that you can experience again. And God loves you either way. But it's a law, it's a principle. If you have this in your mind, it's a principle and it's a law. You just cannot entertain the presence of the Holy Spirit. It's a law. You got it. let everything clear out, and then your mind will be able to be open and to receive. And sometimes it's there because that anger is in you. You can't pay attention to even know that it's with you. So let it go and clear your mind. What are the last word you have for us today, Christian?
Um, Sometimes I have been speaking to men, as I said, this is more men than women, no disrespect intended, but it is what it is, right?
Right,
A lot of men will look at me and say, anger is what fuels my fire.
right,
Anger is what's gotten me to where I am today. Anger is, and this, my story is how I made all this money.
right.
Okay, let's talk about that. Let's say you go into a building and there are two elevators that you get to choose from.
Mhm.
One is an express, and they're both, well, one of them might be, they both might be an express, but you choose one of them. You walk into an elevator, and some young boy has pressed every single button up to the 70th floor, and you have to stop at every single floor. You're going to be so angry by the time you get up to the 70th
Right,
floor. I mean, it's going to be awful. So you can still get to the 70th floor, but you're going to stop at every floor and it's going to be really painful. Or you could take the express and you can get there easier. You can get to the same place with anger and pain and bitterness, but
mhm,
it's not going to be pretty.
right,
Or you can forgive and you can forgive and use gratitude and take the express and get there faster. I
right,
can get there twice as fast and twice as far using forgiveness.
right. And
You can get there the other way, knock yourself out. If you like pain, be my guest. I'd rather take the express.
I think
And
I
for the
can
women
relate.
who are listening, you are worthy to live a life of abundance. You are worthy to live a life of joy. God doesn't want us to live in a refrigerator box on the street.
No,
That's not why we're here.
no.
You are here to do this. And that unforgivable person, just save them for last. Start with the easy ones, but you are worthy enough to do this.
That is it, guys. And I think I relate to that anger one when it comes to men. Although I really don't know. For me, some people have read books and some people say that, when people knocks them down, when people say they can't do stuff, it gets them angry. To me, I see that as competition rather than being, maybe, well,
Well,
maybe,
anger can be the bridge to change. Sometimes if you
right,
really, really, really need to change something, get angry, because if you're angry, you'll change.
right. So I think I can
So
relate
that's
a
what it
little
takes
bit to
to
them.
forgive them. Get angry, because wouldn't you rather be listening to this podcast and enjoying it rather than thinking of the person who you really don't want to be thinking about all the time? Wouldn't you rather be thinking of happier things and replacing all those horrible thoughts with, I don't know, going out and taking a walk or going to a movie? I mean, I think that'd be much more pleasant thoughts than the other.
Right. So anger, well, sometimes can actually drive change, actually.
It can.
But different depending on the type of anger still. Because now if you're angry because you want to change your situation, because you're just tired of being broke, you're tired of being at the down, you're tired of being at the bottom, you're tired of being where you are, and
Right.
everything is just frustrating to you. Now, that is a different kind of anger. That is
It
different from
is.
angry at somebody, different from being bitter, different from being hating somebody. That one is just you're just tired of being where you are. And your
It's
anger
constructive.
doesn't mean that you're going there to just, piss on people's face and treat people like crap out there. No, you're just tired of being where you are. And then you
Right.
have this anger within you to transform your life. Now that's different. That one is constructive. It's just like you have constructive criticism. That one is a constructive type of anger, and anger that drive into positive change. So I don't have problem with that one. If that is what fuels you, if the kind of
Right.
anger to change your life for positivity, not going out there to ruin people's life though, but to change your life for positivity. That is a positive change type of anger. And it can get you into a life of abundance, a life of change, a life of difference. You can be angry and tired of the kind of character you possess and become a better human being, become more present, become better. You're just that type of anger is just being tired of being small, being tired of being
That's right.
where you are and want to change. That's a different type of anger. That's not what we are talking about. We are discussing about the anger that holds you down, the anger that keeps you stuck, the anger that keeps you negative and block blessings away from you. That's
That's
the
right.
type of anger that we are talking about. So that's it today, Proverbial Minds community. We have just discussed with you the forgiveness formula, a path to the path to inner peace, and it start with listing down the things and the people that pissed you off, people that you can't forgive, and give them a number 1 to 10. Which ones are the ones that you can forgive easily? And practice what Katrin had said. Take 15 minutes away from every distractions and try to visualize them in your front and say everything you want to say and clear your mind, and then acknowledge it, and then just let them go and pray. Pray to God to let your mind be free and detach your emotion and connection to that memory and everything. You will not be able to get rid of that memory 100%. That's just the truth. It might still come to you maybe once in a blue moon when you see trigger moments. However, you can get to the stage that it doesn't affect your life or controls you anymore. That is where we want to get you into. So 1 to 5, and then 5 to 10, the ones that you feel like, oh, I can forgive these people. Deal with the 1 to 5 first and practice the same process over and over again. Consistency is what leads to change. You don't build Rome in one day, it's one brick at a time. And so you do this today, you come tomorrow again, like that, like that, like that, until your mind has reached that transformational mental state whereby you no longer hold grudge or anger again. And then you actually now experience the true inner peace that comes from forgiveness. If you're here for the first time, do not forget to visit our inaugural video on our YouTube channel about Proverbial Minds and what we are. We are in the game of transforming and changing life, helping you to build a life of greatness and success as whatever that might be to you. We are trying to help you to get there. We are trying to give you that life of abundance that the Lord has promised to every one of us. And so come on this journey with us. Watch our past episode and let it transform your life. Soak into it. And if you're not subscribed yet, ensure that you subscribe. Click notification button, like the videos, and share it. And if you are the type that don't want the video, you just want to listen to it, you will have it on Apple Podcast as well and Spotify. You can always listen to it while you're driving, while you're doing chores, whatever it is. Just plug those earpieces on or those headphones, whatever you got, and just listen to it and soak into it and embark on the journey of transformation. So, Catherine, thank you so much for coming to the Proverbial Minds show today. It's an honor to have you here and to hear so much great things that you have shared with us about transforming our lives and getting inner peace through forgiveness. We really appreciate your time here today, and we hope that we all and everybody listening on the other side can learn forgiveness and forgive that person that is holding you back. If there's
Thanks so
any,
much for having me. I appreciate it.
no problem. All right, guys, that is it. If you want to reach out to us for anything, proverbialminds@gmail.com. That is our email, proverbialminds@gmail.com. And if you need shorts during the week and you need something to just change your mood, you can visit our Instagram page. We have some short videos there of motivations that can help you out during the day just to change your mental state during the day. And that is all. Until the next one, peace out, guys.